Hello everyone and welcome back to Gamer Reviews. Today I will be reviewing Cyberpunk 2077. Before we begin, if you would like to see more content like this, then please leave a like and subscribe. Okay, so I want to start off with the glitches and issues on consoles. I don't usually do this, but this is a very rare case where I will call out a company for what they have done. I recently made a video talking about CD Projekt Red and how they handled the release of Cyberpunk. For the short summary of that video, I basically said how scummy it was that CD Projekt Red did not allow any footage of the console version until the day of release of the game. They did this, I would assume, to purposely hide the fact that the game did not run well on the base PS4 and Xbox One. And I said that was very scummy and that they should never do that ever again. Anyways, let me get to the next part. So I want to show you some clips of just the texture issues and glitches that are known on consoles.
Time to die!
I need a drink.
As funny as some of those glitches are, this is unacceptable. I would suggest that you should not buy Cyberpunk until it is either fixed or just don't buy it at all. As of right now, with these issues, they are being fixed, and I am sure they will be fixed in time. But as of right now, save your money for something else. I am not here to tell you to buy an Xbox Series X, PS5, or PC. I know not everyone has the money for that, especially during these challenging times. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I have to say that it is terrible that they released this game in this state. The game on PS4 can jump from 30 FPS straight down to 10 FPS, and that is unplayable. It really sucks to see these issues and glitches, because otherwise this game is amazing. They should have either cancelled the base PS4 and Xbox One versions, even though they said it works fine, and just release their next generation versions. This is the last thing I will say about this, but I might sound a little hypocritical here, and say that for people saying that this game was meant for next generation consoles, not PS4 or Xbox One, well, this is what I have to say. How did Red Dead Redemption 2 play so well on the base PS4 and Xbox One, but Cyberpunk cannot? CD Projekt Red clearly screwed something up, and they really need to bounce back quickly because people have been waiting for this game for literally 8 years, and this is what they get. So I hope in due time this game gets fixed and everybody can enjoy this game equally. For everybody who has this game and has these issues, I'm very sorry, because this is unacceptable and you deserve better. For the people who actually have a working version of this game, congratulations, and I hope you enjoy this game, because if you've experienced this game the way I did, then you will love it. Now, on to the review. I will start off with the story. I won't go much into this story as I do not want to spoil the game for anyone. All I will say is that at first, I was getting very confused with what was going on, but overall I understood the story in the end. There was also a thing at the very end of the game where I had to make a choice, and I will not tell you what that choice is, as that contains heavy spoilers. The two choices were not described properly enough to me, and so that meant that I was confused on which decision did what. I wish that they would have made the end choices more clear, as I would have made a more informed decision in the end. I would also like to mention that Keanu Reeves did a really good job in his role. It's not like his other roles, so be prepared, but I really enjoyed it. Overall, the story was actually really well done, and I can't wait for other people to experience this story. I will now talk about the graphics for this game. Earlier in this review, I went over the glitches and the texture issues that are known on the consoles and sometimes PC, but here I will not talk about that, and I will talk about the actual graphics when it's loaded in properly. For me, I was extremely lucky to be playing this game on PC. I say I'm very lucky because I had next to no texture issues or glitches. This is why I'm able to talk about how great the graphics actually are in this game when they work. To me, this game shows what next generation graphics can look like. I would even go as far as saying that the lighting is better than Red Dead Redemption 2, and this is without ray tracing turned on. I was truly mesmerized when I first started this game and was introduced to the open world during the day. It took me a while to get used to how realistic the lighting looked. The way the light hits the vehicles and the reflections and everything together just makes this game look so beautiful. I did try ray tracing, but I wasn't able to get the proper feel of the ray tracing because my computer just could not use ray tracing in this game at a solid 60 FPS. Without ray tracing, the reflections are impressive. I would even dare say that I didn't notice a difference when ray tracing was on and off. I just can't explain to you enough how pretty this game is. If I am to be honest, the sound in Cyberpunk was really well done. The music was perfect, and each song sounded very unique from one another, which is very hard to do. Their overall sound design made the atmosphere of Night City feel so much more impressive, especially with headphones on. You can hear the different sounds of some flying transports, music in the background, people talking, and the sound of crowds. The sound of the vehicles were also very well done. The voice acting was also on another level. All of the voice actors within this game did an incredible job and had a very persuasive sound to them. All of the people you met felt like real people, and they were all unique in their own little ways, and I just cannot describe how well the voice acting is in this game. The sound design for the guns was not as perfect as everything else in the game sound-wise. A lot of the pistols and shotguns sound like shotguns, but some of their futuristic weapons don't sound very impactful. I do like the idea of having futuristic weapons, but I feel like they should have put more emphasis on the futuristic sound of these weapons. Towards the ending of the game, all of the sounds of the guns just blended in with each other. Otherwise, the sound design was amazing. With the shorter reviews, I will only point out key aspect of content within a video game, so here we go. The first piece of content that we have in Cyberpunk is customization. So when you first go into the game, you can create your own character, which I am a sucker for. Even though the character creation isn't as extensive as other games, it's still really in-depth. Like, some of the added things that I really liked was that you can change the way your eyes look and your fingernails, body tattoos, face tattoos, and cybernetics. You can even change what your junk looks like. You can have really cool designs on your fingernails as well, which I really love. The only thing that I wish they could have added was the fact that you should be able to change your hairdo throughout the game. This isn't a deal breaker for me, but I sometimes throughout the game get sick and tired of the current hairdo I have, and I just want to change their hairdo, but it won't let me, which is sucky, but not the end of the world. Once you're done the character creation, that's pretty much it for changing the way your character looks. The other way to change the way your character looks is with clothing. I would have to say I'm kind of disappointed with this. Don't get me wrong, the clothing is pretty cool in this game, but the issue is when you go to a store, a lot of the clothing isn't good enough for you to buy, so you just end up killing other people to get their clothing. I had an easier time finding clothing that I liked after killing enemies than going to go buy clothing. I was very disappointed in the clothing within this game, and I wish that we had more options for clothing. With character customization is that you can also change your cyberware. So what that means is that you can give your character extra powers, kind of. There are no extra powers, but it's something like that. You can add cyberware to make your character more powerful. Some of the cybernetics could help you open doorways, or mantis arms, where you basically have two big swords coming out of your arms where you can chop up enemies. That one is really fun to use. Think of it as praying mantis arms. There are other things for your eyes, so you can see different types of enemies, explosives, and stuff like that. You can also unlock dashing capabilities and double jump. Another aspect of this game is gunplay. A lot of people have been saying that the gunplay isn't really good in this game. I do not share that opinion. I actually really like the gunplay. It reminds me a lot of Call of Duty and other first-person shooters. I also really like the reloading animations and sounds to it. One of the first things that I noticed when I picked up a gun and reloaded was that, wow, this is so realistic to me. I would like to give a round of applause to the people who animated the weapons and created the sound effects for the weapons, and the overall look of the weapons, because it's really good in this game. There are many varieties of weapons in this game, and there are so many of them that I can't possibly say in a 10-minute video. So now I want to tell you what I didn't like about the weapon system. There are so many guns in this game, but I only ended up really using 3 guns throughout the entire gameplay. I only used a single shot rifle, sniper rifle, and a pistol. In the end, you would only use a weapon that had the highest damage. That is it. Really, you can survive the whole game with only 3 weapons and just keep on upgrading those 3 weapons, which is really disappointing because all the other guns just feel the same. The driving in this game is not the greatest. Don't get me wrong, it's serviceable, but it's not really easy to drive certain vehicles in this game. The one thing I really noticed with vehicles is that when you brake, it takes so long for the vehicle to stop, and that it can get very annoying very quick. I also noticed that some cars feel stiff. Sometimes you would purposely have to crash yourself into a wall or into another car just so that you wouldn't hit a cop or pedestrians. I know that in RPGs you don't usually have vehicles to drive, but they could have made the vehicular aspect of this game better. You also have perks and upgrades to your character. So basically what this means is that you get to make your character unique from the other characters that you can create in different save files. You can create a stealth character where you only use your perks to upgrade your stealth abilities, or your brawler abilities to how well you can survive in a fist fight. You can also upgrade your reflexes, where you could use your weapons better and have better control of your weapons. This is really cool in theory, but actually putting it into action is a different story. My first playthrough, I made myself to be a bodybuilder type of player, where I was strong with the body, and I had great reflexes so I can survive in both types of combat situations. The thing is that I feel like the perks don't add anything to the gameplay. I survived quite a lot of the game without even upgrading anything, and that's a shame. I almost dreaded getting a new perk just because I didn't know what to choose, and if I chose that certain thing, I would feel no difference in my character. So to me, I didn't really find a point in upgrading your character because it really didn't do anything in the end for me. There are also side quests, which are actually a lot of fun. Some of the side quests can be pretty funny, and other ones could be pretty serious. There are a lot of side quests that you can do, but there's a catch to doing the side quests. You can't do all of them right off the bat, because your character will not be strong enough or prepared enough to do that side quest. I really like this idea because then you can't go through the side quests all in one run because your character is powerful. It pans out the side quests so then you can do story missions to also upgrade your character, which doesn't really work to get into those other side quests. An interesting fact is that doing the side quests can actually alter the storyline itself. To me, I was quite skeptical because I heard all the reviewers saying that this does happen, and to my surprise, they're telling the truth. I will not tell you which side quests change what happens in the main storyline, but it was just an interesting thing to mention. Literally everything you do in this game can alter the outcome of the main storyline, which is really cool and probably took a lot of work. So I commend CD Projekt Red for doing that. Now is the time for the opinion part. For anyone who is new to this series, in this part I tell you things that I did like and did not like. This is just my opinion, so take it with a grain of salt. These are also just things that jumped out at me, so I won't be talking about everything. I'll start off with the positives, as everybody likes to hear positive things. The open world is the most positive thing I can think of in this game, among other things. As I mentioned before, it's so full of life, and there are so many things to see, and it may not be the biggest map we've ever seen, but holy crap is it dense. To me, the open world feels huge, compared to some like Grand Theft Auto 5. Sure, Grand Theft Auto 5's map is bigger, but there isn't as much to see as there is in Cyberpunk. Sure, in scale the map isn't the largest, but if you're in the game playing in the city, you probably can't tell the difference. You might even think that Night City and the rest of the map is bigger than any other map you've played on, just because it is so detailed. Hands down, This is one of the best open world games I've played, aside from Grand Theft Auto 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2. Those are my top 3 open worlds as of right now. The one main negative that I have for this game was that the clothing options were not good at all, and there is no car customization. I personally can understand why there's no car customization, just because of everything else that's in this game. Adding car customization would just be another crazy thing that they would have to add, so I understand why there's no car customization, but it would have been cool to see. I wish there were more clothing options in this game. I'm not saying that the clothing selection is terrible, but it's just serviceable. As I mentioned before, it's better to loot the clothes off of dead enemies than it is to actually go to a physical store to buy clothing. It's depressing to see because you would think that you would find better clothing in the stores than you would looting dead bodies. When you loot dead bodies, they have pretty cool clothing options, but again, the clothing options should be better in store. This game was too much fun for me, and I'm not complaining that it was fun, but it was just insane amounts of fun. Yes, the open world itself is fun to go around and see all the sights and sounds of Night City. Besides the NPCs, the world feels alive. There's a lot of traffic, crowds, and so many little areas where gang members are hiding. There's also music as well in the background, and it just feels so alive. You can spend so much time just doing whatever you feel like in this game. It would be an understatement saying that this game is just fun, at least coming from me. For replayability, this game is the most replayable game I've played. The reason for this is that you can choose different life paths. So there are 3 life paths, which are Nomad, Street Kid, and Corpo. At first I chose Nomad, and the first 6 hours of the game were a lot of fun, but then I noticed that you go straight into the storyline after about 6 hours. Same with the other life paths. So I would say, just based on those 3 different life paths, you can play this game easily 3 different times. Not to mention that you can do side quests differently. You can change the outcome of the story. You could also change the way your character acts to other people. It's amazing how much thought was put into this game, and how much you can replay this game and still get a different feel every time. It is truly mesmerizing to think about that. All in all, this game is really good. For now, let's pretend there are no issues with the game. The game, story-wise, can be a little confusing at times, but in the end it all comes together and sort of makes sense. The voice acting and acting was very well done. As well, it felt truly like a movie to me. The gameplay is also very well done, except for the minor issues, like cars not driving correctly, or using only 3 weapons for the entire game. If you are buying this game for PC, you should definitely get it, but if you are thinking about getting it for the consoles, maybe think about holding on to that purchase. At least until the game is fixed for those consoles, which I hate to tell you, I don't think that will happen. It might happen for the Series X and PS5, but for the base PS4 and Xbox One, I wouldn't hold my breath on that one. Anyways, this is just my opinion. If you want to buy the game, go ahead. If you don't want to buy the game, then don't buy it. This is just coming from me, telling you what this game is all about. So if you buy it, enjoy the game. If you don't buy it, enjoy the game that you're going to buy. Other games that I will be reviewing will also be streamed on twitch.tv/gamerreviews, link in the description below. Thank you all so much for watching, and see you in the next video, and hopefully Twitch.